everybody.
Yep.
It's whatever the fuck day it is today.
It's just day. So we're going to talk about License to Kill. It's a 007 movie, which I don't think we've ever reviewed. I don't think a 007. Maybe some of the...
we did a show about the Daniel Craig ones. Yeah. I don't think that we've ever done...
Like reviewed an individual movie.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
So we're going to kind of... No, I guess we're not going to do that here. Because I'm going to talk about fucking Living Daylights a little bit too. But it's so quick that basically with this video, I can basically sum up the whole Timothy Dalton 007 thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Which, it's good. He's good.
I actually really like Timothy Dalton as James Bond. Yeah.
Yeah. If you like the new Daniel Craig ones, you'll see where he's kind of challenging the badassness of fucking James Bond, because it wasn't there kind of before. Because before Timothy Dalton, Roger Moore had been James Bond for, I think, many movies. Maybe
he was in a bunch of movies.
And he kind of got a little long in the tooth, you know. And James Bond was getting pretty far away from what the Ian Fleming novels were talking about, which was kind of a fucking cold and gritty character that could kill you, you know. And he wasn't described as being real debonair in any way. He was more like some drunk dude that would be... They'd pull out of a gutter and they'd clean him up and put him on a secret mission. And
yeah, thug in a tuxedo, I think that's what he called him.
Right. So when they retired Roger Moore, they kind of wanted to go back to what Ian Fleming was talking about. So they actually wanted Pierce Brosnan, but he wasn't available. So they took Timothy Dalton, and Timothy Dalton channeled it. He did pretty good. And the first movie was called Living Daylights. And I just watched that one a couple days ago. Jenny didn't see it with me, though. She's seen it before.
I've seen it before, but it was a long time ago, so I don't remember.
And I liked Living Daylights. The theme song and everything was really good. The first maybe hour and a half of the movie I thought was fucking great. But then the second half, it kind of slowed down a bit. It was almost kind of like two different movies put together, but it's still good. It's when Bond joins the Taliban. Literally. Down in Afghanistan with the Mujahideen and shit to fight the Russians. But the first part of that movie was fucking perfect, I thought, of Living Daylights. And it was a lot like GoldenEye, which I liked GoldenEye. I thought that was one of Pierce Brosnan's best performances, really. Even though Pierce Brosnan, I thought he was good, but I kind of think Dalton was better. All right.
I kind of think so too. I kind of wish Timothy Dalton had done more Bond films because, you know, seeing him in this one, he makes a really good Bond.
Well, he's believable. You could believe that he would kill you.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Roger Moore.
I'm not scared of Roger Moore.
No. He was debonair and shit and kind of fucking funny, but it was getting kind of fantasy. I mean, he wouldn't even get fucking dirty hardly. You know, he definitely wouldn't get beat up per se, you know. So, but we're talking about License to Kill, which is the second installation. It was the last one. There was going to be a third one, but the franchise got into some kind of legal trouble and it got delayed, and Dalton had to move on to other projects. He wasn't going to wait around for it. And then they got Pierce Brosnan, who they originally wanted. All right, he was hung up at the time with some other contracts. He couldn't do Living Daylights, but they got him in on the new fucking, I guess he made 4 right after this one with GoldenEye. GoldenEye was good. So was the video game for N64. GoldenEye.
Yeah, a lot of people still talk fondly about the GoldenEye.
Damn, I want it. You can't get it though. Its copyright's all fucked up, so you can't get it for Xbox One. You can get a remashed version of that game called Perfect Dark, which is the same engine, but it just doesn't have the Bond fucking theme song and the flare and the guns and shit. But that was the first real good first-person shooter. It was fucking N64 GoldenEye. I fucking want that game bad. I want to play it on Xbox because the old N64 controller only had one joystick on it, so you had to do fucked up shit with the controls. Now that you got 2 joysticks, that game would play right, man. It'd be fun. Anyway. License to Kill.
I wanted to address a couple of comments.
Okay.
Mr. 88 said that he hated the theme song for this.
Yeah.
I don't like the theme song for this either. It's Gladys Knight, actually.
Yeah. I thought it might have been Tina Turner.
No, as soon as I heard it, I was like, yeah, it's not Tina Turner. It's Gladys Knight. The end theme is a little bit better. I think that's Patti LaBelle. Yeah. But I wasn't really a fan. It didn't sound all that Bondy to me. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't know.
James Bond theme song has to be fucking epic and positive, if you ask me.
Like, cinematic, and I just feel like it wasn't all that cinematic. Like, it's not a terrible song, but it's not a great song.
And even half of the Daniel Craig theme songs weren't that good.
No, I liked all the Daniel Craig themes. Some of them more than others.
Yeah.
But I don't mind the slow ones. I don't mind that. Like, as long as it has that, like, epic cinematic kind of thing, I don't mind if it's kind of slow.
The Spectre one I didn't really like all that much, and I definitely didn't like the No Time to Die fucking theme song. I liked those movies, though. The theme songs were... But
and Zach said, "Can we all agree the way this is shot, it looks like a cheap TV movie?"
Yes, it does.
I'm always distracted by how ugly the cinematography is. It's funny because Gene Siskel brought that up on his review of this as well, because I watched that earlier.
Yeah, that's the problem with this one. This one, especially the opening scene, has a kind of a fucking silly mission where it's Bond and fucking Felix trying to get to Felix's wedding. And this fucking drug dealer guy who's a big threat is escaping, and they've got to fucking catch him before he gets away and try to make it to the wedding. And Bond jumps out of a fucking helicopter with a wire on him and grabs the back of that fucking plane, and then he puts a hook and a wire around the back of the plane. The helicopter pulls the plane away.
It's a pretty badass stunt, I gotta say.
Stunt. It's all real. It looked like it was a real stunt.
It really did look like real stunt. I think most of it is like real stunts, yeah.
But no, that helicopter would have just pulled the tail off that Cessna.
See, that's what I was thinking. I mean, that's like a pretty small plane, and I'm like, that's a lot of force you're exerting there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that probably just snapped the fucking thing right off of there, and then it would just, oh, well.
Yeah, and a Cessna is a glorified kite. Okay, that helicopter would have pulled its tail right off of it. And then they just jump. Then they jump and fucking skydive down and fucking land right in the wedding, and fucking everybody's fucking, yeah, they made it. The secret agents made it. Now get married. But then the drug dealer gets away anyway, and and Felix is now a DEA agent. It's not the same Felix from Living Daylights either.
I feel like they hardly ever, other than the Daniel Craig movies, where I think was the character, the guy that played Felix was the same throughout the whole thing.
And that's my favorite Felix.
He's great. I love that guy.
He's the best one.
But I think in all the Bond movies that featured Felix, I think it was a different actor in every single one, if I'm not mistaken.
And their characters were totally different. There's no continuity in the James Bond.
Yeah, everybody's just kind of like, they're just like, whatever, as long as it's...
These were part of British culture, and they came out around Christmas time in December usually, and they were kind of like a celebration of English culture. They're patriotic, and hey, let's go watch this badass British guy stop the bad guys. But it was traditional for them,
Yeah.
And America's got it. So did growing up in Brazil, Brazilians and Central and South Americans. They got it too. They like James Bond.
Yeah, I kind of feel like James Bond.
He was universal.
Everybody around the world can get into James Bond movies.
Yeah. And it's funny. I was in the theater one time, and I remember which one I was watching. It might have. I think it was one of the later fucking Roger Moore ones, because those were out when I was in Brazil too. And there was a Brazilian woman sitting next to me with her husband, and Roger Moore did something. He jumped out of something with some kind of parachute, and the parachute had a British flag on it. And the woman says, "That's not the American flag." And fucking her husband goes, "No, James Bond's British." He goes, "Oh, I thought he was American."
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, they couldn't tell us apart.
Well,
But yeah, I guess it's
I get
understandable.
It. Yeah,
Spaniards, Mexicans, that's all.
Yeah, whatever. That's what I mean. So it's like, if we get mad when it's done back to us, but it's like British Americans, who cares?
British Americans.
You're all alike.
Oh, white people, fucking pale motherfuckers. Yeah. But anyway, oh shit, man, I lost where I was. But yeah, the opening scenes of the first fucking 20 minutes of this movie is basically taking place like in Florida.
Yeah, like in the Keys.
In the Keys. And it looks like shit, man. They got good stunts and this decent looking, shit. But the way it was filmed, it looks cheap, really cheap. but then later on it improves. Starts looking better. It's very uneven looking. And then it starts getting more exotic towards the end. I even think that damn Wayne Newton was in it.
He was, yeah.
He wasn't?
He was, yeah.
He was, yeah. I thought that was Wayne Newton.
It was Wayne Newton, yeah.
Yeah, and it's taking place at this drug dealer's fucking secret mansion, and they found out it's not really a mansion, it's almost like his secret civilization. It looks like a damn Incan temple or something.
Yeah, that's a real place. It's like a performance. What is it? It's like some kind of. They have like concerts and shows and shit there.
I thought it was some kind of hotel.
It's in Mexico.
It's in Mexico.
They shot most of this in Mexico, and in Mexico and in Key West. Matter of fact, I think this is the first and maybe only Bond film that no part of it was filmed in the UK. Because usually they would film like interiors and stuff at Pinewood in London, but there was some kind of like trouble financially or whatever. They're trying to like cheap out a little bit on this movie, so they shot even the interiors. I think they shot like on sound stages in Mexico because it was cheaper.
Even though it wasn't a low budget movie, they spent a lot of money on it. It's
$32 million.
They just, which that was a lot back then.
Yeah.
But it's just that they should have spent more. And I don't think that justified some of the made-for-TV look in the beginning of the movie. And it was also the way that things edited is that it's kind of a muddy kind of a fucking storyline. I mean, it's like, come on, man, get to the fucking point. It's very uneven, the way it's paced. But still, a good performance from Timothy Dalton. He did carry the role. I think he's a real good James Bond.
He is, yeah.
There was gonna be a third one, but there was some kind of legal trouble with the franchise. It started to stall, and Dalton, he had to move on and do something else. You know, motherfucker got to make money. You know, scheduling. You know, and I think after that one, maybe he saw the writing on the wall. Maybe he thought the James Bond franchise was gonna start maybe going downhill. He didn't want to be part of that. I don't know, but there was some reason, probably besides the legal wrangling that they were doing. I think maybe he lost confidence in it. Even though, I think, if I remember correctly, that director who did that fucking loved Timothy Dalton, and Dalton liked him. Thought they were
John Glenn, that guy.
Yeah.
And he's the same guy. I think this was the last Bond movie he directed, but he actually started out editing Bond movies. He did Honor Majesty's Secret Service, Spy Who Loved Me, and Moonraker. He edited those, and then he directed For Your Eyes Only, Octopussy, A View to a Kill, Living Daylights, and this one.
Yeah.
And he was the one that was kind of pushing, after Roger Moore retired, for Bond to go back to more what Ian Fleming intended with the character, like more of like a rough, like without so much humor, like more grounded in reality. Yeah. Like I said, so in a lot of ways, like what people like about the Daniel Craig Bonds, that it's more like realistic. Yeah. This was kind of like doing that, but like way ahead of its time, I feel like. But I don't know if people were ready for it. This made money, but I think it was the lowest grossing, at least in the U.S. I think it only made like its money back, like in the U.S. I don't think people, because this was the first Bond movie too that was rated PG-13 instead of PG, because it was like super violent and like kind of dark, and he wasn't like this charming, funny kind of character anymore like Roger Moore had been. Like he was actually like killing people and like fucking people up and
doing things that were kind of morally questionable, like putting fucking pistols to the back of girls' heads and stuff, you know. Yeah, but you know, that's kind of the way the character was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they actually kind of went back. So I really liked that about it. There are a couple of like funny things in it, but which in a way kind of tonally are a little bit strange. Yeah. Like some of the quips that he makes, but it's not. It's only like a couple of times that it happens, and like the whole like first part, like with the wedding and stuff, that was like a little bit weird. Yeah. Like I mean, because Timothy Dalton was such a serious Bond and like very cold-blooded and, you know, a lot more violent, a lot more willing to get in there and get dirty and get beat up and everything like that.
Yeah, which is really nothing by today's standards. Yeah. In the context of the late 80s, it was kind of a big deal. And I think like people weren't really into, like especially after Roger Moore's run, which had been so long, it was kind of more like a silly popcorn kind of movie. Yeah, it was getting comedic. I mean, he was...
Yeah. But this one was, like, a lot more serious. Like I said, there is funny shit in it, but it's not, like, over the top. I kind of wish there had been, like, no humor in it, to be honest. It doesn't like distract, but
they were trying to please the crowd in the second one. They were trying to please some of the critics who thought that they'd gone overboard with the tough guy stuff. I was like, no, they should have gone even more.
Yeah, I mean, way grittier. I mean, like, if this Bond movie, which I feel like hadn't happened prior. Felix gets his arm and leg chewed off by a shark.
And they rape and kill his wife.
Yeah. Off screen, like you just see kind of like the aftermath.
Benicio del Toro's in it. He's looking young and good. He's the motherfucker looking.
God damn, that motherfucker was hot back then.
He was
still hot like later on, but
he's like a real tough Leonardo DiCaprio, taller but with dark hair and shit, kind of like a Latin.
He looks like a crazy motherfucker.
Yeah, he's crazy as shit in it. But it's good. He's good. Really good.
He's great in this. He's great in this. I've always really liked Benicio del Toro and everything that I've seen him in. I had never seen him in anything where he was this young. I mean, he's very young in this, but
Felix's
super
wife, the one that got killed, she was the girl from Three's Company, the one that replaced Suzanne Summers.
Yeah, I can't remember her name, but
she was cute, but she got killed. She's cuter than Suzanne Summers.
I mean, she gets killed like in the first fucking 5-10 minutes or whatever. But and then like a dude's head gets blown up in the pressure
in the
chamber.
Decompression chamber. There's some shit that wasn't in the theatrical cut. Is in this because they had to cut some stuff to give it a PG rating. They didn't want to get the R rating, so they had to cut stuff out. Now I saw that stuff anyway, which makes me think that I saw this on cable, or I saw it, or I rented a different version of it because I remember that guy's head blowing up.
Yeah, because I didn't
see it in the theater.
And the thing too is like Benicio del Toro's character, who's kind of one of the like main henchmen of the bad guy, Sanchez. He gets thrown into what the fuck is that thing? Oh, it's the thing that like
it's
chops.
A rock crusher.
It's like a rock crusher that like does the cocaine like back out of the whatever, and he gets like thrown in there and like basically turned into like fucking fine mist.
Yeah, and they shot him from the bottom, looking all the blood coming out.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think when they released this to theaters in the U.S., I think they trimmed a few seconds out here and there, like of the dude's head blowing up in the decompression chamber, of Felix getting his arm and leg chewed off by the shark, of Benicio del Toro getting like thrown in the rock crusher thingy. And I think they took like a couple seconds out so it would get a PG-13 because I think it would have got an R otherwise. And they really didn't want that because I kind of feel like as sort of gritty as this was for the time, like I said, the Daniel Craig ones are obviously like much more violent and grittier and stuff, but this for 1989, this was kind of like a big deal, and I think that they didn't really want to alienate, you know, a movie that traditionally, like James Bond movies, like the whole family would go see it because it was just like a fun like adventure movie.
Now, when you say like gritty, it's nothing as dark as Daniel Craig.
No.
Okay, but it's always in the context of the time. We were coming out of an 80s where Roger Moore, this was like a goofy fucking 007 was a put on. It was just some shit. It was like a feel good movie. It was fun. There was going to be some fucking sexy chicks in it, you know, and fucking people pretending to shoot each other. You didn't really take any of this shit seriously. Gadgets and stuff. Wasn't anything serious. I mean, it was really just a couple notches fucking above, or a couple notches above in reality, above Austin Powers. Really, that's what Roger Moore did. So when this comes in, it did, in comparison, seem like a move towards reality. But to see it from contemporary viewpoint now, it's still very much an 80s action flick.
Yeah.
Gasoline explosions. Unrealistic gunfights.
But there's great stunts in this, I have to say. Like, the stunt work in this, especially that tanker trailer chase at the end is fantastic with the missiles and the big, huge explosions and all that.
And Dalton is doing some of the stunts or certain shots inside the stunts. Yeah. You know.
He's clearly doing some of the shit.
a lot of it, right. So, he's delivering a lot more than fucking Roger Moore. Roger Moore is just no way he was going to run across the top of a damn fucking truck. Well, it's going 60 miles an hour. That was a stunt double, you know. Yeah. But it looked like Pierce Brosnan was doing, or it looked like Timothy Dalton was doing that.
Was doing some of the stuff, other than the real dangerous shit, which I'm sure they wouldn't let him do.
And he, for the most part, looked like he could do what they were showing him do.
Yeah, he looked like he was could do it. He looked like he was in decent shape.
Yeah, the first one I didn't really get an idea of what kind of shape he was in because he never takes his shirt off or anything. In the second one, he does. They're trying to let you know that he is in decent shape, and he's in okay shape. A lot better shape than say Moore was. He's in better shape than fucking Charlton Heston was. You know what I mean? He's in pretty good shape. Is he fucking on cycle, fucking buffed out in HRT? No, he's not. All right, fucking Daniel Craig was. Daniel Craig at 40 looked like he could fucking whip your ass. But he probably could. Even in his 50s, Daniel Craig looks like he could whip your ass. And he probably could. Was he natural? No. Fuck no. Same as those guys in the MCU and shit. You know, they're on shit. In reality, it's more realistic that they would be on shit. You know, special operatives, fucking Delta guys and dudes in SF, they're on shit. You're not going to be able to get in those units unless you're willing to go on cycle. Just like any other professional athlete, but they don't have to play by rules. So they're on shit, you know. So I think they should have done something with him because, you know, Sylvester Stallone was on cycle. They were doing shit from that same era. He should have been enhanced. Maybe they weren't as comfortable doing it back then. Not everybody. Nowadays, they got it down to a science. They'll do it. Fucking every actor will do it. Tom Hardy, fucking, he's on all kinds of shit, depending on whatever role he's got to do. And I really respect Tom Hardy. He'll go on cycle, or he'll get fat, or he'll get skinny. He'll I don't know. That's got to be really hard on your body. But he's willing to do it.
Christian Bale does that shit
Christian Bale too.
He's like, he'll get fat, he'll starve himself, he'll buff out.
Yeah.
It is very rough on your body. You can only do it like...
Especially when he starved himself down
for the machinist.
For the machinist, fucking...
We still need to review that. I love that movie.
You'd have had to pay me all
God
kinds
damn,
of money
he looked like... that was unbelievable. Like, when I saw him in that, I was like, I couldn't believe he was still, like, walking around alive. Yeah. Holy shit.
So,
Sean Wells says, all respect, but Roger Moore never even thought about working out.
No.
Well, he didn't have to. He's like, just bring in my stunt double. I'll be in my trailer.
What Roger Moore's fucking strength is that he was tall. He looked like a male model in his 50s. He had a good face. He had a very debonair fucking...
Yeah, he was very charismatic. He was charismatic.
The talking, you know. But that's not going to get you out of a fucking fist fight or a gunfight, okay? And that's really what this guy's supposed to be about, so that's not going to be a priority, you know. What fucking Ian Fleming was talking about was Timothy Dalton or fucking Daniel Craig.
Yeah, that's much closer to the original character.
Closer to Daniel Craig, probably. Okay.
Yeah, like I said, he just wanted somebody who was essentially like a cold-blooded thug.
Yeah. You know, who was smart,
but who cleaned up nice.
Yeah, he had good taste in things. He was kind of got to blow money and also steal money. You know, fucking because a lot of the Daniel Craig series and even some of this one, I think he steals money in this one too, doesn't he? Or he throws some money away.
Well, now when the DEA agent, who's played by the same guy who was in The People Under the Stairs. When he basically like feeds that guy to the sharks, because he does, James Bond, he's not just like, oh, I'm not gonna do it. He's like, fuck you, dude. But that DEA agent who was like turned on, he got bribed by like the drug dealer, and he's like, I got a suitcase right there with $2 million in it, I'll split it with you. And then Bond is like, you earned it, you keep it, old buddy. And then like he throws it at him.
It throws him to the sharks.
And he throws him to the sharks, and like so all the money goes in there, and it's like he doesn't even bother. And there's a bunch of money in that plane that he steals too, and he just kind of laughs and like throws it out the fucking window.
The original name for this movie was called License Revoked.
Yeah.
But they changed it at the last minute to License to Kill. And it fucked up all the posters, and they couldn't use the
That's why the posters for this were so shitty.
Right.
Like, they look really, like, slapped together.
Because they were. At the last minute, they changed the title of it.
Well, they changed it because they said, well, they only figured out, like, right before the release that license revoked in the United States, that means you got your driver's license taken away. Yeah. Not your license to kill.
Like you can't drive.
That's basically what the connotation is.
Well, the reason why it's called that in this one is because to avenge Felix, he goes rogue.
Yeah,
they revoked his fucking double.
Yeah, so it's a revenge story.
Yes, he's going. It's the whole theory. The whole behind this whole thing is about loyalty and vengeance and trust. Okay, which that's carried on in the Craig series. There's a lot of that. he says fucking fuck being a secret agent. I'm gonna avenge my boy. So I'm going after these guys. So he gets in with them pretending to be a fucking out of work fucking assassin. And then he realizes that the main bad guy doesn't care very much about money. He cares more about loyalty. So Bond kills a lot of his the bad guy's henchmen by setting them up to make it look like they were stealing money or going behind his back, and fucking the main bad guy was killing his own dudes.
He was sowing distrust.
Sowing distrust. And in the end, fucking
among the organization.
Bond wins in the end, of course, But it was decent, kind of confusing in certain areas, like the edit isn't all that great. Like somebody said before, it's very uneven. The quality looks uneven. It'll be like low quality, and then real good quality, and then go back to kind of low quality, then pretty good quality, and then down to okay. It's not real even textured. I much preferred Living Daylights. I saw that one in the theater when it came out. I saw it in Brazil in the theater, and I loved it. Watching it again, I was like, oh yeah, that was this movie, and I was like, oh okay, yeah, I remember when that happened. I forgot because a lot of Bond movies are samey. I mean, they'll use the same fucking kind of tropes over and over again, and they've made so many of them, they pretty much exhausted a lot of ideas. So it all kind of seems familiar a lot of times, and I lose track of what happened in what movie and what Bond did that, But seeing Living Daylights, it took me back. I was like, oh yeah, okay. Oh, I thought that happened in GoldenEye, because there is a lot of the of Living Daylights that felt like GoldenEye, especially the first 45 minutes. Out of the two, I'd recommend GoldenEye. Excuse me. Out of the two, I'd recommend Living Daylights. It's a better movie.
Some people do like this one better, though. But like I said, I can't really judge because I haven't seen The Living Daylights probably since it came out or like a year afterward. You just watched it a couple days ago, but I haven't seen it. I just watched this one last night, The License to Kill, which I don't think I'd ever seen this one before. Not that I remember.
Living Daylights delivers everything you expect out of a James Bond movie. Being in Europe. Soviet agents.
Cool car.
Cool car with gadgets.
Hot ladies.
Hot chick. He's saving a hot chick who he was going to kill. That kind of stuff. And then black suits in a black fucking tactical outfits jumping out of damn airplanes and skydiving and landing on top of mountains and fighting soldiers. Even if it's just training, they show it, and then secret agents infiltrating your side and getting into these gunfights, and you only got blanks. There's all kinds of good stuff. In Living Daylights, I'd take.
At least this one, though, in its defense, has sharks.
Got sharks
and ninjas.
It's got ninjas, yeah.
Briefly.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, I'm watching it. I'm like, oh, and suddenly ninjas out of nowhere. All right, we're doing ninjas. And it's literally like a 5-minute scene, and then there's no more ninjas. And I was like, oh, no more ninjas. But yeah, and exploding heads.
Yeah, so, it's hard to put. There's so many of these things, and I haven't seen a lot of them. I don't even remember the Sean Connery ones that well.
I don't either.
I'm
gonna
go back and see some of those. But from the ones that are more recent, like in my lifetime, it's among the Dalton ones are among some of the best. I'd probably put my favorite ones as Casino Royale, Skyfall, GoldenEye, Living Daylights, Spectre. I liked Spectre. I even liked the last Daniel Craig one, No Time to Die. I liked it.
I liked all the Daniel Craig ones. I think Skyfall is my favorite one out of all of them.
Yeah.
But I like all of them.
Yeah, some would say, well, I don't like that second Daniel Craig one. What was it called? Quantum of Solace? No, that's one of my favorite ones, actually.
Now, that's my least favorite out of his.
You got to watch it several times.
But it's still good.
You watch it a couple times, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah. It's got a lot of cool shit in it. It's got a lot of paranormal stuff happening in it.
Yeah, it's better on rewatch. I'll give it that. But Skyfall is still my favorite.
Bunch of alchemy references happening about water and fire and burning water, and people selling water and being forced to drink oil. There's all kinds of damn alchemical symbolism happening in the story. I liked it. It was a very Manichaean story, you know, which there are some weird kind of, not paranormal, but alchemical and kind of paranormal and religious kind of references that happen. I picked up little themes in all of them, or most of them that I've seen. There's kind of religious themes in them, but not Christianity. It's like Gnosticism, symbolism. I don't know if it's me reading into it or if it's really there, but I don't care. I just go along with it, you know.
Can I say that, like, the one thing about this one that I don't love, and I did actually like this movie, it is, like, really entertaining. The one thing that I don't love is I don't really love, I kind of agree with Siskel and Ebert on this, or mostly Siskel, where he said, well, it's like this, he's like, the Bond movies that have, like, bigger villains, you know what I mean? Like, dudes that want to, like, take over the world, are a lot more exciting. I kind of feel like, because the main villains in this one were just, like, a drug cartel, and I think even in 1989, like, drug cartels as villains had been, like, overdone. I think, like, in 80s action movies. There's, like, a shit ton of 80s action movies where, like, some drug cartel, like, it's from South America or whatever, were, like, the bad guys. And I just kind of feel like, I'm not saying, like, the stakes weren't high, because they were, and, like, a lot of people got killed and shit like that, but it wasn't, like, a globe-spanning villain network. You know what I'm saying? It seemed like a smaller potatoes.
Yeah, by the late 80s, the whole drug cartel angle was getting kind of played out. That was passe. It should have been something about, like, an oligarch using some kind of experimental technology that was real threatening. That would have been a lot better. Kind of like what they did with No Time to Die, where oligarchs running the world government were making a damn kind of a virus that was made out of fucking, what were they? They were nanites that once they got in you, they could kill a select person. It was a pandemic that could go through everybody, but only kill the select individual people that you programmed that thing to kill.
To kill it, yeah.
So that'd be a fantastic weapon. And then once that thing was in you, they could communicate with it, and they could kill anybody anywhere.
But the thing about it, I don't know. Now that I've said that it's just kind of like, well, you know, a drug cartel isn't, like, as I said, like, globe spanning as some of the other, like, James Bond villains, I kind of get that they were trying to, again, like, more ground it in reality. So they wanted to, like, I guess bring the scale down a little bit, so it seemed more realistic that Bond is just going after this one particular very powerful, you know, drug kingpin, essentially, just to get revenge, like, for them, you know, feeding his friend, like, half feeding Felix to the sharks and killing the wife who was also a friend of his. And they kind of, like, well, I think they kind of hint too that he's kind of one of the things that, like, pisses him off about it, not only the fact that, like, they killed the wife and Felix got his arm and leg chewed off, but was also because of Bond's wife, and he was still, like, kind of bitter about that. Like, they kind of refer to it a little bit, but they don't, like, do any cheesy flashbacks or nothing.
Willow Lee says, hello, watching from South Korea, and love your cute cat. Thank you very much, Willow Lee. With a last name like Lee, you must be Korean, right?
She is the cutest cat ever.
Yeah.
She knows it, too. But yeah, so Danny Rowling says, Living Daylight's intro seemed like the intro to Die Another Day, but I'm okay with that. Zach says, also the Bond girls in this are pretty hot, but kind of can't act for shit. Yeah, I mean, I do kind of feel like the acting from the ladies is a little bit weak. And Carrie Lowell's lazy eye is so distracting.
Yeah, Willow says she is Korean. You know, I lived in Korea for a year, right? Good. I liked Korea. Had a good time. I was there 1991 to 92.
Robert Kitchen says, getting over COVID, that shit almost took me out. Was in bed for a week. I'm up and walking now. Love your guys' podcast. Holy shit. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better anyway. Holy crap. Yeah, so I kind of feel like I said, even though this made, it's not like this tanked or anything like that. It made, like, you know, ample money. I think it made, what, like 150 million or 160 million, something like that. It didn't make all that much money in the U.S., but, like, worldwide it did. But I kind of feel like in the U.S., it had like a really lot of competition, like when it came out. Because like you said, they usually come out in the wintertime. Well, don't they usually come out like around November or like right around Christmas or something?
December, right?
Yeah, so they usually come like right around Christmas, like every year, every 2 years.
Yeah.
And this one, I think, came out in the summertime. And I think this was the same summer. This was 1989, right?
Yeah.
So that was the same year that, Tim Burton's Batman came out. That was the same year that Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade came out. Back to the Future 2 came out. There was like some other ones too. There was like some other really big movies that came out like right around the same time. So I kind of feel like, those were more like, if you're going to go see like a family fun like adventure movie, you're going to go see those. This one was a little bit grittier and more geared toward adults, which James Bond movies, I guess they always kind of were, but not so much like in the years prior to this.
Yeah,
I feel like.
Yeah, Willow. I lived up above Imjimgak, above the Imjim River, at a place called Camp Greaves, which was an army camp right outside Panmunjom, where they held the peace talks. My camp, you can look it up. Camp Greaves is now a museum. You can do a DMZ tour up there, and they'll take you to my old camp. And it was just 1st Battalion and the 506. The 506 Airborne Infantry only had one battalion back then, and it was the DMZ battalion. We stayed up there. Next to us was another place called Warrior Base, where guys would come up there and patrol. And then we had the Rock Army sectors on either side of us. We worked with the Rock Army, and Camp Greaves was right next door to a Korean Rock Army Special Forces unit known as a Golden Bat unit. So the Golden Bats, we worked together with them. Okay, that's it.
Slasher Fred says, since you are reviewing a James Bond film, one of these days you should review some of the James Bond parodies, like the 1967 film Casino Royale. Yeah, we should probably do that one of these days.
What year was that one?
1967.
67. Yeah, I've heard about that one. That was the one where that guy only did that one, right?
No, that was... No.
I thought the guy who played Bond only did one.
Well, that was a parody, though.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. That's what he said. It's a parody film. Some of the James Bond parody films.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
All right, because I thought there was another James Bond film from the 70s or the 60s called Casino Royale that was actually based on James Bond.
Yeah, I think there was.
I think his name was called Tommy Bond. It wasn't quite in the franchise, if I remember correctly.
I can't really remember.
But I think it was based on something that Ian Fleming wrote, or I don't remember. Yeah, I'm not a James Bond expert in that way. So the older stuff, I never seen it.
Mike Barrett said this film had to be cut down for PG-13 because of the violence. Yeah, that's true. We just mentioned that earlier, like some of the scenes, especially the head exploding. I think that was cut down. And the shark attack. Danny Rowling said the black guy that played Sharky in this, who also gets... he doesn't get eaten by a shark, but he does get killed by, like, shark hunters, so, the black guy that played Sharky in this also plays in the Crussell film Used Cars. Just saying. Huh. I haven't seen that since I was a kid. I don't think.
What, that Used Cars?
Yeah.
I think I've only seen bits of that movie. I don't think I've seen the whole thing.
We'll watch it one of these days.
Yeah.
Slasher Fred said 1989 is also the year that Ghostbusters 2 came out. Yeah, that's another one. So I kind of feel like there was a lot of competition, and they released it like at a time of year that James Bond movies didn't usually come out traditionally, and it was like a little bit, and it was like a lot different than the previous James Bond movies. So I think it was just, but I kind of feel like it's gotten like a reassessment. You know what I mean? I was watching Oliver Harper's review of it that he did several years ago, and in his opinion, he thinks Timothy Dalton was the best Bond, and he actually really likes this movie. I think he liked Living Daylights a little bit better, but I kind of feel like this got a critical reassessment, particularly in light of the Daniel Craig ones, now that everybody kind of knew. Because like in 1989, nobody was like ready for James Bond to go,
especially the United States, because the average person that was seeing these in the films, seeing these in the theater, they didn't know about the books.
Yeah,
they just knew Roger Moore and stuff. You know, like, oh yeah. And they were they would watch that or turn it down. You know what I mean? Like, that was the James Bond that they knew. Yeah. And some people liked it, some people didn't. When this came out, it didn't quite appeal to either one of those crowds. If you liked Roger Moore, you might not like this.
Yeah, because it's not the same.
Yeah, and if you didn't like Roger Moore, you probably just didn't even like James Bond. So you probably wouldn't have been attracted to see this anyway. But what they said that who did respond to this, were James Bond fans of the books, that they liked this. And if you see the Daniel Craig series, which for me, those are the best ones. If you see those, you can see that what Daniel Craig is channeling. He's actually looking at what Dalton did and going, okay, and I think he's using that more as a basis, and then adding his own stuff in it. I'll take Daniel Craig though. Out of the two.
Camp Guy said, "Is this the one with the opening stunt on the back of that giant dam and Bond rappels down to back up?"
No. That's GoldenEye.
Yeah. This one, yeah, that's Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan, and that's a good movie. I liked it. Out of the Pierce Brosnan movies, I'd take GoldenEye, and that's just a good James Bond movie in general. And that movie looks and feels a lot like the first 45 minutes of Living Daylights, which is a Dalton movie.
Yeah, one of only two.
Yeah, I was watching that Dalton movie. Boy, reminds me a lot of GoldenEye.
Yeah, well, this one starts out with Felix going to his wedding and then getting waylaid by like the DEA, like calling him in for hey, this drug dealer, he's over here and we need to go get him right now. So they do like this helicopter plane type chase situation, and then like it all ends up with them parachuting down to the wedding, so he made it on time. But yeah, so that's how they do that. It's not, like I said, the beginning part of this, like the stunts are good, like the helicopter stunt and the plane and everything, but yeah, the cinematography at the beginning is a little kind of not, like, leaves a lot to be desired, but it did like kind of get better like as it went on. I guess I'm just not used to, because you're so used to like seeing the James Bond movies like in these like really, really exotic locations. And I guess like to me, a lot of it was set in Key West. And I'm like, well, I grew up in Florida, so Florida is not exotic to me. So I'm just kind of like, yep, that's Key West. All right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm looking at that and goes, is that Louisiana? Because there's causeways out in Louisiana too. So I thought, and Jenny was like, no, that could be the Keys.
Yeah, that's the case.
Because I've never been down there. And yeah, she was right.
Because they got like, it's like a 12-mile causeway or something like that. Because it's just like all those islands and shit down there.
Yeah, I think the longest one Louisiana had was about almost 30 miles. It was like one of the longest in the world.
Well, it's like not even, there's one down by the Keys, but what a lot of people don't know too is that there's another big long causeway over, like going from Tampa to Clearwater, because I used to drive on that every day.
How long is that one, you think?
I don't remember.
20, 30 miles?
I mean, no, it's not that long. Okay. But I used to drive on that every day too. But so they all kind of look like that. But yeah, it's the Keys.
Don't know what a causeway is. If you're in another country, a causeway is a raised freeway going over the ocean. It's a trip. It'll sometimes make you dizzy as shit, because a lot of times they're way high above the ocean.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Just freaky to look down and just see the damn waves underneath you. And it's like you're out in the middle of the ocean trying.
Well, you are in the middle of the ocean.
Middle of the ocean.
Well, especially like if you're driving down to the Keys, you absolutely are in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
You're just going like from island to island.
Kind of a spooky feeling.
It is spooky.
Feels like you're swaying or spinning, and there's oncoming traffic and traffic next to you, and it's just so much damn motion. And if the weather conditions are wrong, you'll have a gray sky with a gray sea over a gray road, and with kind of a gray haze, and you kind of get vertigo. Kind of like trying to fly an aircraft at night by using just the instruments, which I had to do that one time, is just look at the damn dotted line and keep it on my fucking right headlight. You know what I mean? Because I just felt like vertigo, like I was spinning.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Creepy, yeah. And I was going 80 miles an hour doing that, because that's how fast traffic was moving across it. I don't know how they were handling it. I was in one of those damn, was it Nissan Cubes or what was the name of that thing? The damn vehicle. It was somebody loaned me a car.
How would I know? I wasn't there.
It's a damn square thing. It was like a little square van. I think it's called a Cube.
I don't know when they started making those, so I couldn't tell you.
That was when my dad was having bypass surgery.
Okay, so somebody loaned you that.
Yeah,
that was just a couple years ago.
A couple years ago, yeah.
Okay. Slasher Fred said the movie Jaws has a reference to James Bond in the scene where Hooper is cutting the shark that was caught open, and one of the things he pulls out is a license plate that has the 007 number. I don't think I ever noticed that.
I didn't notice that either.
How clever. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, they're all talking about the GoldenEye video game for the Nintendo 64,
Yeah.
which a lot of people really like that game. I've never played it, but a lot of people talk about how awesome it was.
It just had really good gameplay.
Yeah.
Really good gameplay, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so do you have anything else you need to add about the movie? All right, so we'll probably wrap it up for today. So tomorrow's Wednesday. That means it's our main episode show, and we're going to do some kind of paranormal shit. Going to talk about the British Premonitions Bureau, which, I said, I had just heard of on that William Shatner show we've been watching, and I'm like, I had heard of some of this. I heard of the disaster that spurred its creation, but I had never heard about the Premonitions Bureau. So it wasn't in existence for a very long time, but we'll talk about it anyway. It sounded really interesting, so I'm kind of glad well, it didn't actually win, but the one that won, we already did a show about it, and I forgot. So we're doing the one with the second most votes. All right, so have a good rest of your evening, you guys, and we will see you guys again tomorrow evening. Bye.